Hi everyone, Bike the Chain Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Deerhoof album, Actually You Can. This is the 18th studio LP from indie rock vets. Deerhoof, one of the most consistent and idiosyncratic bands on the planet, with just unwavering style, musicianship, and output. It's frankly kind of easy to take a band like Deerhoof for granted, assuming they're always going to be there providing the light and creativity they do, like the sun rising every morning. Because after all these years, the band is still sounding like a well-oiled machine. Greg's drumming is still effortlessly groovy, nuanced, flashy, and virtuous. John and Ed's guitar work is still melodic, technical, expressive, and mind-bending. And how many times now has Satomi proven herself to be a one-of-a-kind singer and lyricist? Not to mention the band has collectively been going into a lot of their latest projects with either topical or aesthetic concepts in mind to kind of tie everything together. Their last one, Future Teenage Cave Artists, was a fitting LP for 2020, as it was one of the band's noisiest and most rudimentary and dystopian records so far. But Actually You Can, by comparison, seems relatively free of the heady, dystopian, and kind of chaotic rigmarole. The tracks here aren't too abrasive or psychedelic, and the mixes on these tracks are some of the clearest and punchiest Deerhoof have offered in a while too. The whole thing runs at a brisk 9 tracks in 32 minutes. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that Deerhoof is in banger mode on this record, with some of their brightest guitar lines and melodies ever, hardest drum beats too. I'm feeling a renewed sense of hope on this LP as well. Some of the attitudes and feelings on these songs remind me of one of the band's more underappreciated rebellion anthems, I Will Spite Survive, off of their Mountain Moves project. I feel like that same energy and philosophy is returning on this record with a vengeance, as there are numerous tracks here where it sounds like the band is finding the will to fight on and find beauty in the world around them. Some of the wild Baroque and Latin influences flowing throughout these tracks are refreshing too. The classical melody and harmony breaks on Be Unbarred, O Ye Gates of Hell are fantastic, and guitarist Ed Rodriguez has been quoted talking about the Mexican music influences that went into his guitar lines on Scarcity is Manufactured that ring through beautifully. I think Satomi's especially in her bag on this one hook-wise as well. Crime is a slow motion love song is easily one of her sweetest choruses ever on Ancient Mysteries Described. The way it hits as well between these chaotic guitar passages makes it such a euphoric release. I also love her later descriptions of criminal enterprises later on the song, old gangs being cash only, mid gangs being card only, and new gangs being hearts only. Then Our Philosophy is Fiction, I'm enamored with lyrically, the way that it describes a very artificial future with artificial crying and praying as well as simulated dancing. Seems like a dystopian description of a replacement for our increasingly numb and I guess isolated world. Plus Satomi's vocal melody here is absolutely heart-wrenching and haunting. And the lyrical creativity continues onto the song Department of Corrections, which uses a jail setting as a clever metaphor of sorts. Plus Satomi's playful descriptions of fishing on epic love poem, saying that a big one is coming. Combine that with some of the rockin' and fun riffs on the track and Greg's mathy drumming and improvisations across different progressions on the song. Like, this is classic Deerhoof all the way. The bridge of this track is also one of the trippiest moments on the LP, as Satomi is singing about being underwater. Meanwhile, the guitars are getting more and more atmospheric and drenched with effects. So the finer details on this record are nice, even if they don't necessarily, come through with too much subtlety, because everything on the record is so goddamn loud. But really the biggest selling point of this LP is just how exhilarating and energized the songs and performances are. Deerhoof on this LP may bring the experience of aging Gen Xers, but they're playing here, they're performing here like a bunch of fucking teenagers. Like the booming drums and tight harmonized guitar licks on Department of Corrections hit like I'm being beaten to death by an octopus with boxing gloves on. The crushing hits of bass and noise on Scarcity is Manufactured is like a musical avalanche. And the drumming on Plant Thief is incredible. Greg and nobody for that matter, has no business drumming this wildly past the age of 50. Plus, the instrumental passages in the second half of Divine Comedy makes for one of the most triumphant finishes of any Deerhoof album. So overall, I saw this as a very great effort from Deerhoof, nothing super conceptual or over the top for them. There are points like maybe the first leg of Divine Comedy that serve as a reminder that maybe there weren't that many low-key moments or ballads in the track list, maybe as many as there should have been. The Baroque and Latin influences that were certainly pushed forward in the promotion of this album I think could have influenced a bit more of the record. But still, this is a fun and tight set of bops from one of the most unique indie and noise rock bands out there, and I'm feeling a strong 7 to a light 8 on it. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like, please subscribe, and please don't cry. Hit that up or, I hit what up? There's a video next to my head. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Deerhoof, forever.